secret wedding that exposed every hidden truth in my family. I got married on a Tuesday, in secret, wearing a cheap dress and shoes swapped at the last minute, when my mother burst into the civil registry with a coffee-stained envelope and a certificate that wasn't mine. The clerk brought the seal to Mateo's name when she demanded everything stop. We hid the date to escape the family habit of turning every gathering into a trial. Still, they came. My father with a crooked tie, Julia counting glances, and Diego glued to his phone. My mother opened the envelope and slid out 2 papers. On one, my legal surname didn't match the one I'd carried since childhood. On the other, it showed I was still married to a stranger. The clerk said if there was doubt about my identity, he could not proceed. My mother spoke of symbolic ceremonies in towns without records, but the seals shone. My father asked what it meant for his name on my certificate. Mateo squeezed my hand. I remembered the savings notebook my mother had asked me to manage when I was 19. The message Julia bragged about where he supposedly said hello before meeting me. And the time Diego forged my father's signature to reclaim his truck. Our house had been held together by crooked papers. My grandmother, silent, pulled a notebook from her bag. Among the pages was a copy of the original certificate with my second surname different from the man who raised me. She had kept it for when I would understand. Since she sold a plot of land, no one had listened to her. Now everyone depended on her judgment. My father read the biological surname and turned pale. It belonged to his older cousin, the one who left the year I was born. My mother's tone changed. She suggested postponing until clarified and asked me to return home without witnesses. I replied that I would not move. I asked the clerk to check the law. If I signed with the surname on the original certificate, there was no impediment. He hesitated, but accepted with a handwritten statement. Julia whispered that it was ridiculous. Diego asked me without looking for a loan until a job closes. My father promised to call the cousin as if something still needed negotiating. My grandmother found another paper, a power of attorney from the cousin transferring money to Clara, my mother. That money paid the house's down payment. That's why my mother calls it hers, even though the receipts show my father's name. And that's why Diego mortgaged part of it with a copied signature. Everything fit without shouting. My mother's previous marriage, my misaligned identity, the relative who left, the disputed house, Diego's debt, my father's fragile pride. The clerk agreed to proceed if I submitted the declaration. My mother understood that the ceremony no longer belonged to her and tried another maneuver. She said family is a fabric and breaking a thread unravels it. I wrote firmly that I accepted my true surname and would keep my decision to marry. I signed like someone taking their first breath with the correct name. Mateo signed afterwards, without speeches. Julia left before hearing the strike of the seal. Diego went into the hall to negotiate a lower interest rate. My father searched for the cousin on his phone and left a message beginning with an apology to no one in particular. My grandmother put away her papers and handed me her handkerchief. Outside, it drizzled. There was no rice or music. The strike of the seal was enough. We crossed the door with empty hands and the truth filling everything. The clerk handed us the certificate and I stored a copy in my bag. Behind the glass, my mother calculated her next version. I took mine, a surname of my own, a house I would defend with clean papers, and the certainty of who I would walk beside.